Hi, I'm Sam, and this is the third part about submitting an initiative proposal for the Colorado ballot. This part is talking about the title board, at least submitting to the title board. I haven't been yet, and this is a recent process. Last week, I had the review and comment hearing and met with the different departments involved in the review and comment hearing in order to talk about the intent of the initiative proposals. And now, having received waiver letters from them last Thursday, I went through, and they have about 72 hours apparently to decide about the waiver letters after you do the review and comment hearing and resubmit proposals with changes on them. They have 72 hours to decide if those changes would require another review and comment hearing, or if they can move on to submitting to the Secretary of State, to the title board. So I received that and looked through the guidelines for submitting to the Secretary of State these initiatives and to get titles set for these initiatives. Basically, that process is they have legal guidelines they have to go through, and they come up with a title for the bill. It has to be in the form of a question, yes or no, if people want this change made to the statutes or to the Constitution of the state of Colorado. And so they'll come up with that. There's a few things that I didn't know about this process. There's a lot of this that I'm finding out as I go and as I talk to them and as I'm coming up to the next step. So some of the questions I don't know to ask until I'm there. So this is why this is a little bit ad hoc. For the title board, the instructions that I found online indicated several parts. The first is that I had to include the initial draft that I sent to the review and comment hearings of the initiatives. Those originally had different numbers, so I sent that initial draft that I submitted and that they discussed in the review and comment hearing. Then I also you also have to include another draft with changes that are highlighted about what you changed as a result of the or as anything that you changed as a result of the review and comment hearing. And then the third one is the final draft. And so I had 3 drafts, and so I went through and worked on that and making the changes that I needed to in order to highlight those things that needed to be done, making 3 different copies. Each of those different drafts had to be clearly identified, it said, as the original draft, the highlighted changes draft, and the final draft. And I went through and did that and submitted those yesterday. I emailed those to the Secretary of State, to their initiative email address, and also mailed them. It stated on there that they required a hard copy as well as an emailed copy if you're going to email them. So I did that ahead of the deadline. This Friday is the deadline for filing in order to meet on April 4th for the title setting board. And so I wanted to make sure to get into that because this is one of the last opportunities to do that. So the trick is that once that's done, meeting for the submitting that, I got emails back again. They're pretty quick about responding, and I got emails back today to confirm that I had submitted those initiatives to the Secretary of State's office for the title setting board. Also, I got another email back asking me to give them a call because they had some technical questions about the initiatives. As it turns out, because I had the waiver letters, they don't need and didn't need these extra drafts. They just needed the final draft. So that would have been good news to know before I spent the money to mail it off. They also let me know that they're going to be changing something on the website, that they probably won't need anything except for the email copy if I choose to do that. I don't need to mail it as well. That would have been good to save me the stamp money for that, and especially because of the costs of this process, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. Submitting to the title board, he also let me know that I will need to appear with the other proponent. I knew that I was going to need to appear for the review and comment hearing, but it sounded from everything that I was reading like they were just going to meet separately as some committee to decide the title, and then I can appeal that if I don't like the titles. Again, finding out that not only did I need to appear, but the other proponent. There has to be 2 proponents on every initiative, something I probably should have mentioned in the first video, but you have to have 2 proponents for every initiative. And so both me and the other proponent have to meet at this title setting meeting. That can be a little bit difficult because of schedules, especially if you don't have the availability to meet up there at the times. Typically during the daytime, most of these meetings have been in the afternoon. I might be able to meet in the morning because of how many meetings they're supposed to have for the review and, or excuse me, for the title setting board. But if you have a job that doesn't allow you to get the time off, if you can't afford to make the trip to the Capitol, and if you're otherwise unable to make it at the times that they have, or with both the proponents, then you're not going to be able to submit or be able to get a initiative proposal or initiative on the ballot. It will stop right there. So I didn't know of anything. I didn't hear of anything where there would be another process available. Apparently, by law, it has to be set on Wednesdays, is what I was told. So, if Wednesday is a bad day for you, you're kind of out of luck, it sounds like, for getting anything onto the ballot. Now, the biggest difficulty that I'm having in this process, I'm able to get up there to these meetings, able to take some of the changes that they're suggesting, and able to do those parts. The next part is where it's really prohibitive. The title setting board, first of all, will decide, and this isn't the part, the title setting board will decide if it meets the single subject guideline, that there's only one subject that each initiative addresses. So with the if for some reason it goes through that it's more than one subject, I'm now too late in the game and don't have the ability to rewrite these initiatives and to go through the review and comment hearings again. That will be past the deadline for submitting for review and comment hearing, which means I'm done until the next election cycle. So for the submitting to the title board, those are some of the main parts. I'm going to talk about what it's like when I go there later on. Again, the gentleman that I talked to about the title board, he was very helpful, and I asked him some questions about these things. And he did let me know that this is going to be a difficult process to do as an individual citizen. I don't have funding. I'm not rich. I'm actually trying to finish up school right now. I don't have a lot of money. And so trying to do that, plus the time commitment for getting the signatures right now, there's me and the other proponent, maybe the main one's collecting signatures. If anybody else is going to collect signatures, I'm going to have to start up some kind of committee, go through a training. I don't know if there's any cost to that training right now. I haven't looked at that just yet. I looked at it before. I should say I don't remember if it says anything about that. And I don't recall it saying anything about cost for a training for petition signers or for petitioners, people who are having the others sign the petitions. Some of the rules with that, though, is what becomes difficult. On the sample page online, it shows a sample petition that has spaces for 25 signatures. It also has other legal requirements for rules of the petition for the signers and for the petitioners. It has rules for, or the circulators, I should say, the people who are circulating the petitions. It has rules for, or it has the language of the ballot, and it also has a spot at the end where you have to get it notarized for each section. And the petition circulator has to be the one to sign for each petition. Then nobody else, or each petition section. So nobody else can circulate that section other than the person who started it. It has to be the same circulator. So here's where the trick comes in. Collecting what amounts to the requirements for signatures to get it on the ballot is, I believe it's 5% of the people who voted for the Secretary of State in the previous election by law. So that means it's around 86,000 signatures in order to get this on the ballot for this November. All of those, of course, have to be registered voters. If there's any number of them that aren't registered voters and you only have the minimum number, then, of course, that's not getting on the ballot. The next trick with that then is you want to make sure you get enough. I rounded up to about 100,000. Hopefully that would be enough of a number. Some people may want to go more than that just to be completely safe. But if you're looking at just 100,000 signatures, then what you're looking at, if there's only 25 signatures per section, which is what it shows on the website, then you're looking at about 8 pages for each section. And that would be 4,000 sections if all of those were filled to collect 100,000 signatures. 4,000 sections with 100,000 signatures, what you're looking at for, if you were to copy this yourself, for example, even if you could get 3 cents a copy for these, including the paperboard that has to be on the backing, is going to be somewhere between 1,080 at 3 cents a copy to $1,800 at 5 cents a copy. The person I talked to at the Secretary of State's office said most people go through a printer because of the legal requirements for what you have to have, such as 4 staples through the top, each petition section connected, different formatting things that others have gone through a printer. I don't have the money. I'll say that right now. So that's another part, is if I'm going to, in order to get these petitions, what I'm looking at is I'm going to have to come up with enough money for each of these initiatives to print them. First of all, I don't know if that would be more or less than 3 to 5 cents a copy. The gentleman also said that they do allow more than 25 signatures per section. You can expand that. He said they don't like to see more than 100 per section. Part of the reason, he said, is because if one petition circulator only gets 5 signatures, the rest of that is a waste. Nobody else can circulate that. So if you were to have 200, you might be able to do that, but you'd really want to make sure that everybody has signatures on there. The other part is with 100 signatures, you could reduce that. You're still going to end up with each section being about 15 pages, but that is a lot better if you're able to fill those up for the 100,000 than previously. That will result in 16,000 pages total, including the paperboard or cardstock backing, and that's compared with the 36,000 pages at 25 signatures per section. So then I'm looking at 1,000 sections instead of the 4,000 sections that I would need to get printed and notarized and to get all those signatures on those. That would run at 3 cents a copy, $480 up to $800 for 5 cents per page. So that's part of the pricing on that area. Pretty prohibitive. My hope is that maybe I can find some organizations who would want to jump onto this and to provide funding and also manpower support to get these signatures, to get the papers printed, and to get notarized. One thing that's pretty apparent, though, is that I'm probably going to have to talk to the Department for Campaign Finance and find out about starting up funds to collect donations for each of these individual measures or initiatives in order to get money in order to just print them. I might also have to be recording, I don't know yet, any cost that I spend for the printing and for notarize, or any other cost that may be involved in trying to get this onto the ballot. That's not even including any kind of advertising campaign, which frankly I couldn't afford right now, in order to educate people about these measures and to help people to know what's out there, and to basically for the debate for people who may have money who want to oppose these amendments or initiatives. Is there some way that I can get funding for the advertising? So I'm not even talking about that right now, just the part of getting it onto the ballot in the first place. Now, needing each section notarized, every single section has to be notarized. You're talking about 1,000 to 4,000 sections that would need to be notarized. My bank or credit union, I know, will do notary for free. I don't know that they'll do 4,000 or 1,000 sections for free. Maybe different petitioners could do that. One thing they mentioned is possibly getting a volunteer, a notary who could volunteer, would be willing to do those for free. That's what I'm hoping for, and don't know where I'll find it yet, but that's what I'm shooting for. So we're going to try to find, once I get the title set at least, maybe a little before that, trying to find other organizations, volunteer notaries, and find out what the process is for setting up something for donations. I don't know how much that would cost, those systems, registering as a committee or whatever needs necessary to train petitioners and also to collect donations. That's something I'm going to have to find out here so that I can get that process rolling and ready to get the petitions out. Only have 3 months to get the petitions signed, and need a little buffer period just in case it comes up short of the registered voter signatures, so we have time to collect more signatures and make sure these get on the ballot. So this is the challenge ahead. For somebody that's not rich, no organization, just an individual trying to get something on the ballot for November. We'll see what happens.